the spur controls everything. The conversation is dominated by the spurg. Over the next 2 hours or however long they stay sober, you will lose intelligence. Enjoy Theta Thursday. Your hosts, Dawn and Rhea, Mifune, and some shitty guests.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to This Week on Theta Thursday. Sorry, it took me a minute to hit the hotkeys I need to press, but hello.
He's Mifune. I'm Greg. There's Dawn. Dirk's over there. Wait a second. Somewhere. Over there.
Yeah, way over there. Camera definitely not inverted, confusing the
Mifune.
shit out of everybody.
Mifune, we got fucking special guests this week, man.
Yes, we do.
We got Dirk, right, who hangs out with us a lot. We got Dominark, who also hangs out with us a lot, and Ragnar Schwarzkopf, who hangs out with us a lot. Welcome, boys.
Thank you for having us.
So what's been going on? Apparently a bunch of people coming home from DC not hungover. No one got overly drunk from what I heard. And Dawn took a shot out of an avatar model.
Yeah.
A lot of people did.
We got pretty drunk.
What were you calling that? There was a specific name for it, wasn't it?
No. Well, we said
it was
taking a doomsday to the face.
Taking a doomsday to the face, and it was a pure shot of vodka here.
It tastes like vodka. It tastes like water to me.
I know that. Well, okay, so so we have this. The whole weekend was just a blast. We got to hang out with everybody. Brisk and Mrs. Brisk have great taste, along with Merc, on where to eat, what we were doing the weekend. So Friday night was the initial dinner, the Carmen Fleet birthday dinner, which I crashed because I'm not like the biggest Carmen Fleet person, but hey, I'll come for food and celebrate everybody. I got to meet Isabella finally, and got to hang out with Bill and Ardevs and Nuramori. I finally got to meet Tuzzy in person right before he resigns. So, details. And Billy. Actually, I met most of Giselle, I think.
What's really funny about Tuzzy is after he announced his retirement and whatnot, I pinged him in Elysium the other night. And I go, hey, Tuzzy, I found a video of you in retirement. And it's a video of Thanos, like, sitting down in the garden after Infinity War. and he just goes and he sits down and stares at the sun while the music plays. And Tuzzy's just like, no, that's not me, damn it.
We should give a shout out to the people at Rampage Inc. that put DC together, because I didn't go. I saw the pictures and it looked like a blast.
Speaking of a blast, did you guys hear what's going on at Vegas next year?
What?
No.
A music festival was announced the same exact week of Eve Vegas.
That was last year.
It is.
Oh, is it Woodstock 3?
No, it's called When We Were Young, and it's got like all of the 2000s emo bands getting together.
Please tell me Evanescence is gonna be there.
They are. It's Evanescence.
I will actually go to that.
So
and break you, Benjamin. Like you're bringing out my high school.
No, so like the headliners are MCR, Neck Deep, Avril Lavigne, A Day to Remember, Black Veil Brides, Pierce the Veil, Sleeping with Sirens.
All right. Well, now you're naming a bunch of stuff I don't know. So, but.
Like, there's going to be so many, like, early 2000s emo bands, and it's like, tickets go on sale tomorrow. And it's like, dude, this just came out of fucking nowhere. They announced
Do we have Vegas dates? I didn't think we did already.
Vegas dates aren't out yet.
Vegas dates aren't out, but it's right around the same time.
Yeah, same time
like,
normally happens, yeah.
Like, when do we normally go to Eve Vegas? Last 2 weeks of October. When is this
Emo's
festival?
like,
right
emo's
in the
like that
middle.
Emo's like that really shitty, sad music, right?
Yeah,
no, it's angry, sad music. Thank you.
For angry, sad music.
For a group predicated on self-harming, it's surprising that they're actually still around.
They didn't do that. I mean,
it's like I'm looking at the tickets tonight, and it's like literally like $300 just for general admission. And then it's like, oh yeah, there's no parking. There's no, all the hotels around the festival are already like completely booked out. There's like the closest Uber drop off point is 1.5 miles away from the festival grounds. So it's like no matter what, you're just stuck walking for like an hour just to get there.
Now, Mifune, by Vegas, the next time it comes around, you sir are going to be 21 years old, aren't you?
I am. I turned 21
Yeah,
in 2
he
weeks.
doesn't have to stay outside the hotel.
2 weeks?
I turned 21 in 2 weeks, yes.
Oh, what are we doing for your birthday, bud?
Well,
Drinking.
I don't know. Well, yeah, hopefully I know we're going to be doing a couple things with ASCII, and then I'm going to be doing an Alliance T1 Rifter room, and it's just going to be gate to gate T1 Rifters. We're just going to pick a hostile staging and then just go.
It's going to be Horde.
Probably going to be Horde, because let me tell you what, Toot, which is my nickname for test system, it's T0DT, so I just call it Toot, because that's what it fucking looks like. Right? That shit is like over 50 jumps away from 1DQ, and I'm not
I don't see how Kalevala expands is any closer, but details.
Look, it is easier.
There is a jump ridge there's usually a black ops hole.
It is so much easier for me to burn through Cloud Ring to get to Horde space than it is for me to try and sit there and find a goddamn Thera hole. Here's a funny story. Kind of sidetracked, but funny story. So for weeks, right, Sandrin Stone has been in the Cesspool Discord, and this man, his number one insult is invade Outer Passage about it, right? So that's his main insult, and it's like, well, obviously we're not going to evade Outer Passage, right? But the funny thing is that I'm sitting there and I find a wormhole that leads 3 jumps out of test staging, and I'm like, fuck, right? So I get a Corn Fleet and I burn them through the wormhole, and I find Sandrin Stone's FC team fucking rolling the wormhole as I'm in Thera. And they close the hole on me. Like, Sandrin Stone, bro, you told me to invade Outer Passage, I obliged, and then you fucking closed it on me.
I mean,
What does your shirt say, Mifune?
I pretzel something.
I pretzel Philly. It's a Philly joke.
I don't get it.
Well,
that's because you're not from Philly.
You're not from Philly.
Are you from Philly?
Yes, I am.
No, he's from his mother's butt.
Anyway,
that's not how that works.
I don't think that's how that works. Yeah.
We also had Caleb join us because we do have
Caleb.
some. Dirk and Caleb are here because there's some numbers. Ragnar's here because he was my roommate this weekend. I can attest to other stuff that I was too tired or too asleep to do.
How did that go? How was rooming with Ragnar? Maybe you two can dish on like what kind of partiers each are.
I'm an old lady, and I was just like,
to bed early every night. Yeah, Dawn went to bed early every night. So
I was tired. It was like
did that in Vegas too. What the hell?
No, it was different. So in Vegas, it was like 9:30, 10 o'clock. Here, it was like 11:30 to 12, and I was just like, I don't want to go out
until 1 or 2.
Yeah, they would be out. He was only up a little bit longer than I ever was. They don't get it twisted. I did get a free bottle of rum out of somebody. Thank you, Tango Zulu. Very appreciated. We shared it. It was a Captain Morgan private stock. And so we were just doing shots together in the dinner on Saturday night. So Saturday night is when we had our dinner, and those pictures, those of you who are in the Imperium and saw the pictures, Nuramori, who was supposed to be on but is probably still not home yet, had 3D printed an avatar for Klexos. And I got to meet both of them, which is great because I've known them for a while. But the avatar has a docking bay on the front of it.
As an orifice.
Yeah, the old model. But so this model has a hole in the front. And someone asked Nuramori, is this sealed or closed off on the side? And he said yes. So they went and took one of the water pitchers from our tables, had the guy pour out the water, and filled it with vodka and ice. And
used up all of our free drinks for the night with that.
Yeah.
And then hold on. I just gotta say,
A pitcher.
Getting a water pitcher from like a restaurant or something and telling them to dump out the water and fill it with vodka has got to be the most goon thing I've ever fucking heard. Holy, I don't think anybody else could have done that but goons. Holy fuck. That's hilarious.
It was like a whole bottle of Tito's. And so they would pour it in and be like, take a shot. This is the most non-healthy thing to do, but we were all but we figured vodka sterilizes things. It's fine. So
well, it did so far. No positive COVID. So.
Yeah, knock on wood here. So we all took a lot of us took shots from the front. There's pictures and videos of it, and then we had, and that dinner was really good too. And the hotel was great. To give you an idea, apparently over the weekend of how many did we have? 75 people,
something
give or take?
like that.
Right. So we had about 75 of us. And the hotel, even though we like goon rushed everything everywhere we went, they kept the lobby open for us 4 hours later than normal because they liked our business. The estimated tally is about 10 grand in the hotel of just food and drink.
They liked you spending so much money that they just extended their hours so you could continue
well,
spending
so
money.
we were...
Yeah.
Well, no, we were...
Not the restaurant, but we could stay in the lobby.
So the lobby closed at 11. But we were... I think this was Saturday, but we were hanging out there until like 1, and then the security guard said, usually we close at 11, but we like, we want your business and we appreciate you guys. We'll keep it open until 2.
Damn. That sounds great.
To be fair,
because we would like
normally do that.
Yeah, we spend like almost Dawn. We can hear you typing, by the way.
I know, it's just
so
real
we
quick.
know you're
Okay?
talking shit.
I just had to tell Billy something. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we're done. We're good now.
And literally every day for most of the day, there was a group of us in their restaurant eating and drinking or hanging out and spending money. So
yeah, this is why you tip well, ladies and gents.
Oh, yeah. I see a wild Dave Archer is in Twitch chat. Hey Dave, what's going on, buddy?
I did see that.
Thanks for the sub. Fucking 19 months. It's glorious, buddy.
Nice. Yeah, and we had a good time. We tried to go to a did not work out, though I think a couple guys, I think Bill and like 3 other people ended up staying in the rum bar. But that place is totally against code. Because like the roof was about 6 inches. No, it was about 4 inches off the top of my head, and I'm only 5'6". So
yeah, it was pretty short and very packed. And I could tell they want us out there because as soon as we sat down, they're like, yeah, we're closing this area where you are in 15 minutes. They wanted us to leave.
Yeah, so it's because we didn't pay cover. We got in before the cover, and they were like trying to get people who didn't pay out so they could get people who are going to pay in. And there was some great, DC was fantastic. And I hope we do this again because the hotel was super friendly. It's in a good middle location. But the best part was you could walk to everything. We walked to all of our
restaurants. They let us smoke weed outside their front entrance, and they didn't complain about it going into the lobby. But the smell going into the lobby, because we would just stand outside, because it was cold, and we didn't want to, walk far, so we were near-ish to the entrance, and we smoked a lot of weed out there.
Yeah, and the beds were a little firm, but they were pretty comfortable for me. We ended up being on the top floor right under the penthouse for most of us. So it was a pretty nice view. And DC has plenty of indoor activities, even though it was winter. So a lot of us did things during the day so we could have fun talking about it at night. But it was definitely a great meet, and I hope we get to do it again. And bring more spaceship models with holes in them for shots. I think we need to figure out how to... I guess that's a question for the group. What space model is the best to be like a shot glass? Let's see.
Shot glass. Oh, a Punisher.
A Punisher?
Yeah, sideways Punisher.
I'm not convinced by that one.
That could work.
Someone says a
Beer glass would be a Merlin because you could hold on.
Typhoon would be a good one, yeah.
That's too big. That's like a shot.
No, you can make them smaller.
Why would
okay?
you do that? It's a fucking typhoon. That's weird.
You got all these
Gotta be a
different
frigate-
ships you
frigate.
can work with here. The Zernitra on its back could be a beer holder.
Yeah, it could.
A little grip, little claw grip. Yeah. So, all right. So we had a good time in DC. If anyone has any more questions or want to hear stories, let us know. But I think we're going to move right into some topics that came up this week. There were two big topics that I've got, and then we can go on to more later. But the two big topics are.
Can I butt in for a second, Don?
Oh my god,
Mifune, I was fucking with you right there. Like originally, I had my light set to like just white light, right? But my forehead was green, so I imagine Mifune would be fucking around with the colors and shit. So then I set it red, and then just to fuck with him even more, I set it green. So there's that. Sorry.
Great story, Greg.
Fix your chair position, Greg. The entire left half of your room is fucked. But anyway,
Like that left? That's my right, man.
Well, you're right, my left.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interject
Are we
there.
moving on to the CCP
yes.
thing?
So we have two things to talk about today, the big things. Which the first one we have the podcast that CCP Rotati and CCP Swift were on earlier this week. What day exactly was it? Does anyone remember? Because I know was it Monday?
That was released on Tuesday.
Okay, Tuesday.
It was Ashtaroth's, right?
He runs a podcast.
I don't think it's
that's,
Ashtaroth's.
That's about it. I don't think.
Yeah,
this
is.
He owns it. I think he just.
Dirk, this is your wheelhouse, so you get to talk about this one.
This one's this is the Declarations of War podcast with Artemis somebody and Alexia of Cardiff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, this is a Reddit post that was pretty much the bullet points for it, mainly because I'm too IRL busy and too lazy to sit here and listen to that entire fucking thing.
The bullet points were fantastic. They were pretty interesting to get through.
Yeah, so basically, I guess we'll just go down the list and talk a little bit about each bullet point. So basically, Rotati was clarifying that basically he's responsible for decisions on how things like scarcity are implemented and how they work. When it comes to the actual game mechanics, he's the one that makes those decisions and says, okay, compression is going to take X amount of hours. Okay, this, we're going to force a depression by getting rid of X amount of ore. That's the decisions that Rotati makes. And that CCP Burger is the one that defines the grand vision of everything. So if that doesn't make sense to anybody, Burger is the one that initially said that, hey, the game is not healthy, we need to fix this. And then Rotati was the one that said, okay, here's how we can fix it.
That's almost certainly not how that one happened. Just as
it was
a point.
Certainly Hilmar being like, I don't like how things are going, we need to do something.
But that's just how they clarified it on the podcast.
Sure, yeah, you're right.
But
that's what it is.
Whether or not that's totally true, I don't know. God knows.
Now, the next part they got into was NFTs. Everyone's done extensive things about NFTs. I don't care. I don't want to go over them.
Well, long story short, they're apparently, according to CCP, and this has been said now by Swift and Rotati, that there are no ongoing plans to bring more NFTs to EVE. So honestly, I feel like as long as that...
They're moonwalking out of it. They're running from that whole thing because they can see that any sane voice on the interwebs, including actual CCP devs, are really shitting on it and really hating the idea.
If they got to moonwalk away from it, they got to moonwalk away from it. That's their PR standpoint, buddy. As long as there ain't no fucking Killboard NFTs coming out, or there ain't no Matani fucking NFTs coming out or anything like that, as long as it's not actually happening, then I
It's
don't
not.
give less than
I
2
like
fucks.
DuPont's take on it. They just like how they won't sell skill points for money, they won't make any more NFTs.
I mean, that's yet to be seen, but for the time being, I just
Nah, that's
I'm
not
so
comparable.
done.
This is just such a hot potato in the business right now. Everyone
You know
and
what?
their mother is trying to get in on this stupid low-hanging scam stuff.
Mhm.
And CCP, they did go hot on it for a hot minute, pun intended, because someone had hoodwinked some people in CCP, including Hilma. So they suddenly had this hard on for NFTs, and it was the big thing. But
It's
right
like a
now, they
timeshare
are
for
completely running away from it
Well,
because this is
Toad.
bound to end up a scandal in the realm worse than loot boxes. This is going to be the next horror thing. You're already seeing scandals with like 150 and 200 million dollars being stolen from these things. Like everything is just going horribly wrong with this, and it's not going to happen. CCP is going to stay far away from it. I will eat my hat on stream if that doesn't happen.
Are we
But
gonna make
yeah.
you like a sombrero, like a tortilla chip sombrero with like salsa in the rim for you then?
That
Alright,
sounds
well,
nice. Then I'm almost hoping that I lose.
then
So
yeah.
here's a bit of a turnaround for the NFT things, right? And this has been discussed before, where our CSMs have basically said, "Hey, you know what? You know, it'd be really great if we could have fucking alliance skins or corp skins.
Well-
You could sell them for IRL fucking money and make a lot of cash." And they just go, "Oh, well, I don't know what the fuck. What do they say, right? Like, is there some kind of response to that? Do they?" Like if
I've
somebody
heard
You,
that.
told
you don't you don't
that,
need
There
you
has
don't need
been-
NFT tech for any of these things.
There's
It's
been a
just
lot
it's just a
Exactly.
horrible
It's just-
idea.
No,
like
there's
give it to
been-
your design department, right? Give it to your
As
creative
far-
team who is very good at design, and let them do it, right?
So
Let them take care of it and fucking some money printer.
I think it's been brought up, like even before Briss brought it up, even before this, with the Eve partnership program, one of the first things that we came up with, like as a pretty unified partnership program, is that we were thinking, oh, wouldn't it be great if you had your big Eve Online streamers have their own partnership skins, where it's like some of the profits go to CCP and then some of the profits go to the streamer. Like imagine if Bjorn B had his own fucking skin line and he gets a portion of the profits and CCP gets a portion of the profits, and it's like a thing with the Eve partnership program. And we tried to bring that up as an idea, and we got instantly shot down by CCP on that idea. And the only reason that they won't do something like that is because of the art department. And it's something I talked about with Brisk after the last meta show.
I don't think it's that simple, Mifune. Really, I think it's got a lot more to do with how would they do something like this, because who then owns any rights to these things? What is the creative rights?
Well,
what the
obviously,
IP?
so obviously, like legal things is in there, but as far as things like alliance skins go, by all means of technicality, CCP owns that image. We signed that right away when we uploaded the Fat B image to the stuff in game. That that was it. That the
See,
rights
that's
are gone for that.
No, that's not how that works, because CCP actually modify any alliance images that are given to them with like a slight filter so that they are not actually the same as the IPs that are owned by
because
whoever designs the alliance
SA
logos.
goons, one of the SA goons owns the picture.
Yeah.
For the
We've had
beats.
fair use rights on Fat B forever, and CCP, that being in the game, is not anything that takes away from our usage rights to that.
The difference would be if we had designed the bee on Eve client somehow, because then you're using their technology to make it, so they would have the rights to it.
But yeah,
Especially
right,
if it was the
like-
exact same.
And then not only that, but it's my understanding, because I've had a few conversations with the art department, the stuff that they use to make skins is like horribly unreliable. And I don't mean like unreliable as it's a difficult program to work with. Like imagine if someone just gave you Blender, no lessons in how to do 3D modeling, but just gave you Blender and told you to make something out of it without any help
You know
whatsoever.
what?
And it's
I
like
can make cool
it's a
pictures on
difficult-
Photoshop with no training. They can
It's a-
figure it out.
It's a
It's their
difficult
job.
thing. It's a difficult thing for them to navigate, and then the way that it interacts with the actual game engine is even more difficult. Like making a new skin line for the EVE Online art department takes fucking forever and gives everybody 30,000 headaches.
I don't know. That sounds like a fucking cop out to me, man. I just designed cat ears for a keep star,
Hell,
and like it took me 30 seconds.
It
Pay me,
legitimately,
CCP.
it's far less to do with their technology and far more to do with the fact that CCP have consistently and just horrendously been awful at monetizing anything. We want to throw money at them, and they just can't figure out how to make it work.
Yeah, they put out a beautiful gold skin for Oracle, and they did no promotion on it, so no one knew it was out until after it already left the market.
But
And
it's also
you can't
if
buy it anymore.
But Dirk, think about this, right? You have to think about these things long term, and in cases of potential controversy. Someone mentioned in chat, what if you have an alliance that suddenly needs to be disbanded because of controversy, and there's an alliance skins that's been introduced into the game with that, or dead alliances that are simply not around anymore? That becomes like what, archaeology? It's just,
why not?
It's not that simple. And I agree,
Like,
and it would be great. It's just
Dota
that they have to sell this to the legal department, to the marketing department, and actually show that it's got the value to actually put in the effort, right?
Dota
it's
has
also
this
not
all the
just-
time.
No. How about this? What if we literally showed CCP our own player-made data about how much fucking money they would make if they did that? What if, like, it would be something as simple as a fucking straw poll? If CCP made it a skin for your alliance and charged you X amount of money, would you buy it? Yes or no? And then we
I
could
think
just
they know
go
how
to
many
them.
people would buy these. But
I doubt
as
it.
Kayla
I
brought up
doubt it highly.
whole like, what do you do if an alliance defuncts? Well, guess what? In Dota and League and other games that have professional teams, they make special skins for those teams that have their logos a part of it or attached to it in some way, or it's themed after one of their players. Like maybe this player really likes to use this particular character and they're famous on it. And then they've stopped playing. You know, the game's been going for 10 years.
Well, it's just
they still use them, and I have a lot of the stuff. And when I see it, I'm like, "Oh my god!" I remember when like Secret was a brand new team. I was so excited about them. Or I have the Alliance skin for my Phantom Assassin or whatever, and it brings up nostalgia memories of good times or different times. So it actually has a huge positive value to even have outdated or old things because it helps you remember those attachments you had in the game.
Well, yeah. and this is not new, right? We've been talking about these types of skins, and we've had player-made ideas for designs and whatnot for at least a decade, if I'm not wrong. So I think more importantly, Mifune was mentioning the tools and stuff. If they still use the same tool that they did a couple of years ago to actually generate these skins, I think we should really start asking them if they couldn't release something like this to the actual player base so we can play with these things.
I've asked Aurora, I said, listen, if you guys can't do it, why not just release it for public use for the EVE Online players to make their own custom skins? And then you guys can approve what skins you like and shove it into the game yourself from that point on. But they won't do that either.
Yeah, I feel like the skin thing is just a lost cause at this point. But we have more bullet points to go through.
Well, yeah.
We can continue that conversation on Saturday. So the
scarcity. People are angry because the work doesn't outmine the rest of EVE.
I love that they just stated, like, yeah, people are angry.
Yeah, like,
which honestly,
casually.
This brings up the other thing we're going to talk about today, which is the MER. We'll bring up that at some point.
We should welcome Ghoster to
Ghoster's coming in to listen to us.
Oh,
I don't know if he wanted to be here, but I dragged him down.
Whoa, you're
loud. I wanted to say I would willingly pay $250 to put a fat bee on an avatar.
I wouldn't pay that much.
I would probably throw $100 at Pearl Abyss to give me the kitty ears for my avatar. I'm just saying. I mean, they've already made. Oh hell, I don't remember the ship, but I bought the skin the other day because it was shiny as hell. But it had light coming off of it, so it wasn't like just on the ship, but like they've started adding in. I don't know, laser light show shit coming off the side of ships. Surely they can figure out how to make a set of kitty ears for my avatar.
Yeah, the new Doctor Who skins, they leak like Time Lord jizz or something into space. It's pretty cool.
I bought that kit, not gonna lie.
The fireworks from Doctor Who also bring out some space jizz, and they are kind of nice. But anyway, as the notes are saying, people are angry because the Rourke does not outmine the rest of Eve. You are correct, sir. I want my capital miner to be able to mine as much as a capital.
Dirk, do we want to go into the horrendous thing now, or do you want to wait till the MER talk?
We could do it to the
That's
MER.
up to you guys.
We can do it until the MER. We can
save it.
Quickly go through these. We can finish these off, and then we can do that. Anyway, so then they're saying that battleships will become more like dreadnoughts to justify their new increased build material and increased cost.
This is the interesting one. What do they mean by it's going to be more like a dreadnought? Are battleships getting stronger?
They already said they were. This is something I predicted with the winter update because they spelled out what they said they're going to do. So because of scarcity, battleships are now more expensive. They are now going to buff battleships so that it is worth to pay over $1 billion for your battleship.
Now, does that mean Marauders are going to get stronger?
Probably, if I had to guess.
Yes,
but they said they're gonna buff battleships, and hopefully that means that a Marauder will be better than a T1 battleship, because I am sure CCP definitely won't overlook the fact of T2 battleships and just make the Megathron even more powerful. Right?
It doesn't matter though.
The Blops already got boosted pretty hard. I mean, I've got a Redeemer cranking out 1700 DPS cold with minimal effort, and it's still a very solid tank.
Hacks are still going to end up as the most cost-effective ships for the big fights, though. With the T2 material situation versus the raw mineral situation, there's no way they can make battleships, even Tech 1 battleships, good enough to supplant the hacks in the current meta.
Not with the ease of getting... God, this is more MER stuff. The ease of getting T2 materials now compared to T1 materials. It's just no contest. Like, you spend a third of the cost and build time for a ship that's does everything you need it to do, and better and faster than a battleship.
I mean, I do know that we're kind of dipping in and out of the MER stuff here, but it turns out when you completely trash your own economy, it starts to have impacts on every other part of your game balance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
So,
they might
compression.
look at the volume of PI mats.
So they might take a look at the P1 mats and adjust their shit.
Just get it out of the fucking ships. Make something else.
I know, that's what I'm saying, man.
That's what they need to do.
What they need to do is they need to make it P3 and P4 minerals rather than...
No, they just need to make it something else that we can collect up, like mining, and take it out of the PI market completely. Because the PI market already has a market. It already has a place to be. Why are you double dipping? Like, make something new. Like, something that's maybe like exploration that's not as shitty as exploration. Or make something that's kind of like mining, but instead of just moon mining, maybe there's like comets that go through space and you can go find the comets and get the special materials from the comets or something other than the bullshit we have. Anyways, let's go to compression.
So compression was... All right. Bear with me on this, guys, bear with me. Okay? It was never intended to take hours, and they were planning to tweak those numbers after release. But wait. Here's my thing. I thought this entire time that Rattati has had the graphs and had the data and had the math, and that CCP's math was never wrong, right? So they definitely during QA testing calculated how long it would take to compress an entire moon's worth of ore, right? They definitely did that.
How much QA testing do they do?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
Uh,
How much do you think
Oh.
they do?
well, they have a test server, don't they?
Right? They
But-
have
So
Jove
they have
space.
the they have the
have
players
Jove.
do it.
They have Jove
That's
space.
why they have the test server.
They have Jove space for internal
Look-
QI testing. That's the entire point of Jove space.
They
Do
also
they have
have
Jove space?
internal servers where they test these things, and every as far as I understand it, every actual development team has an embedded QA as well. So I don't know. I don't know what the fuck.
So you didn't think to say, the average EVE Online Rorqual pilot will mine for about 4 hours a day on average. Some more, some less, right? On average, about 4 hours worth of mining in their Rorks. And you didn't even think to maybe, during QA testing, give yourself 4 hours worth of ore and see how long it took to compress, and then realize, oh shit, this takes hours.
This is the hole in CCP development these days, right? It feels to me like teams that should be talking a lot, like Team Talus and the ecosystem team, are not talking at all. It feels like they have no contact with each other and don't actually touch base. So things like this, where it's resource gathering and stuff like that, simply seems to fall through the cracks every single time.
In all
I agree with
seriousness,
Caleb, they seem to be very oh shit, what's the word? Closed off from each other. Separate.
Compartmentalized.
Yeah, compartmentalized. Couldn't spit it out. They seem very compartmentalized at CCP. Like, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing.
Exactly, and I don't know if I'm correct in this, but I feel like there was someone on leave of absence of some kind, something with maybe maternity, paternity leave, or something like that. That usually is pretty vital to Team Talus.
well, yeah, but question for the panel: if you were on Team Talos or Team Inkling or Team Ra, which doesn't exist anymore but used to be Fozzie and somebody else, would you really want to be spending time talking to CCP Rotati?
Well, you have to, right? And I'm not sure that they're that.
It's their boss. They kind of have to.
And I don't think it's because they don't want to. I think it's very much these things like we know that Fozzie and at least the people that he works with have been very focused, most likely on something like this whole Doctor Who stuff. And we know that Talos has been, I don't know, in a bit of a pause mode or something like that. And the ecosystem team is dropping the ball on many of the details. People that should be sitting at the table having the talk of, okay, if we change the Rorqual to this, if we change Hawk to this, if we do this with mining, what are the numbers going to be? And then it feels to me like they're just expecting that they can throw some random numbers, throw them to the CSM, and these people that don't know what a comma separated file is are supposed to fix that. It's like, what the fuck is going on in there?
I don't know. What's a comma separated file?
Anyway, so the MER, because we did.
Good job, Mifune. Good transition. Super
Yes.
smooth.
Yes,
We've
definitely.
got to
not
welcome
something-
Nura Mori
Yeah.
to
hi.
the chat.
I don't think Nuri Mori, have you ever been on?
I was
We
there
always-
before. I was
I
when we
thought
did
so.
the AMOT special.
Oh, that's right. You did come on and hide.
I think
Well,
it's just Greg
welcome.
and I, for the most part.
I think we'd like to congratulate Nura Mori on his recent promotion to director in GSOL too.
Yeah, you can send your flowers to. I can give you an address.
No, Soap Club got upgraded somewhere too. Was it just a GSOL director or something else?
GSOL director.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
His wish list has lots of Valium, any uppers of any kind, all the alcohol that you can send. Just send it his way because he's going to need it.
by
I
the way,
left my
Nura
mark.
Mori is like one of the dudes to meet in person. Very calm, very chill. So you all should meet him next time.
I appreciate that. It was great meeting a lot of the people that I hadn't put a face to the name or to the voice.
Who was
Oh,
the
and we're-
biggest surprise for you, Nura? Like that you met and you went, holy shit, this person is nothing like I thought he was going to be or she was going to be.
Ragnar was definitely up there.
Ragnar talks about like he's so fat and he's just like
Ah,
a normal guy.
yeah, he was definitely It's funny because your voice on comms can sometimes sound different in person, and it was spot on with Ragnar. He's got a good mic.
You're welcome.
Correct. Okay. So sorry, distracted.
Tuzzy was different too. I didn't expect Tuzzy.
Anyway,
I've seen Tuzzy before, so I kind of knew what to get.
The MER. They know it's fucked up, but they continue to release it.
But no
every
worries. We
At
don't
least
use
they have
peasant
promised-
data here.
At least they've now promised that they're going to start fixing it, which is, of
Well,
course, something that's
yeah.
going to take 1,
So-
2, 3 years.
This is it's so I will cut a tiny bit more slack than everyone else on this panel fucking will, because I did talk to CCP Swift this weekend, and pretty much I told him that the current MER is as outdated as the Crest API was. And similar to every other bit of technology that they've been upgrading for the past fucking 10 years, they need to scrap the entire code that compiles the MER and just fucking remake it.
Well, think of it like this, right? Anyone in here that's ever done spreadsheets and API calls in EVE Online over the past, let's say, 5, maybe 8 years, how many times have you had to actually update your spreadsheets for them to work? Now imagine that the scripts that they're running are the same scripts, fundamentally, that was introduced by CCP Quant, and they've not really been tweaked or updated since he left.
No, which is why they're just going to rewrite it, which I think is the best course of action, to be honest. And, crucify me, damn me if I do, damn me if I don't say it. But
it's fine. It's fine that they're finally going to do this. I'm just worried, do they actually have the dedication and the manpower to give us something that's at least on par with what we were supposed to have, or potentially even better? This is not that easy, especially if it's not people that are used to making tools like this. And I don't see who could do that.
It's all going to be left to CCP Larrikin.
Yeah,
Let's
but
be real.
But is this really within his ballpark? Can he really do this in a timely fashion that makes...
We're never going to get a timely fashion, so just accept that now so you're not as disappointed.
Well, I know that he has the skill set and the background to actually work with data. I just don't know if he has done anything similar and on the scale that he would have to do to get this thing to be fixed on the level we need.
As long as they give him the ability to work on it, it's better than nobody working.
It's already been Larrikin's responsibility for the last, 3 years. So, everything that we see, he's the one doing it around other things in his job role.
Yeah, but he's only just been maintaining what was already there. I'm just worried that, okay, if he does this in a very open format way where he actually engages with the users like us and with the CSM and has transparency in how he does this and listens to feedback, this could be great. But that's just not what we've seen from CCP lately, so that would be very surprising if he does that.
So we've talked about the Doctor Who stuff before, so we're not going to worry about that. But the other thing that was kind of the big thing on here was the dynamic distribution,
and we'll get to that. But I guess
we're not missing
anything. Done. Anyway, Doctor Who. Long story short, apparently they decided to claim that they have a completely separate team that is not the main developer team, that is just dedicated to coding the events for the game, and therefore is not taking away dev time from other projects, as most of the player base.
I mean, that's yes.
That's actually untrue, because they could take all those teams and put it into actually fixing the game, but they're actively choosing not to.
They've notoriously fucked their labor force around prior to, right? In their different iterations of trying to launch games. They've moved Team A to work on whatever. Like, that's documented.
But yeah, it's CCP Fozzie's team that runs the live event stuff.
But yeah, they wouldn't be.
But you can't say that those people could be doing and fixing things in other directions. That's just not their necessary skill set. That's an unfair comparison.
I never said it was their skill set, but they could be using them in that way. And
How?
they should. What do you mean, how?
Well, the event team would be people that do the writing and do the actual.
Yeah, they could expand on lore, which is what the players have asked for, could they not?
True, but again, that would be a completely different and more required focus, right? It's this is like comparing two groups of staffs in a corporation that's not even on the same floor. I don't feel like the comparison is fair.
That's like saying waiters and cooks.
Yeah,
You know, if you
pretty
didn't
much.
have the cooks there, they could be help waiting, or the waiters cooking, but they both have distinct jobs to do.
Yes, but we don't want them doing the shit they're
The
doing
jobs
now.
that they're doing.
Oh, well, okay,
Yeah.
just because when most of us don't do anything with the event sites, doesn't mean somebody doesn't.
GB has the right idea in chat, and it's something I've called out before. It's something I've called out in Reddit, and it's something I've called out on this fucking show. Stop giving us events and start giving us new permanent content, like a new expansion, like a new storyline, like something that'll actually be in the game for longer than 2 fucking weeks.
Well, it doesn't have to be binary, but the thing that was so strange about Doctor Who, there was, from a marketing standpoint, there was absolutely no build-up or transition into why this thing is entering into the picture, versus spending months of how that there's some kind of crossover that makes sense. They just all of a sudden dropped into, a post that, hey, we're all of a sudden we're going to have Doctor Who, and it just was a complete non sequitur.
You know, a lot of video games have events around holidays or themes or anniversaries or whatever, and it's okay. And we've seen where they take an event idea in a temporary testing way where players don't have that expectation of it sticking around, and them implementing it as a permanent change if it has a positive effect. Events aren't bad.
They've done
Events
it
are
once,
actually have
and it was with the filaments.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it
That's
takes
once
one out
out of how many
1 out of
events?
10 is perfectly fine.
There's
The
been
Blood
more than
Raiders.
10.
Anyways, a lot of games do it where they do that to kind of test the waters on an idea that they've got.
Done. Imagine if a game like World of Warcraft, for example, had
That
one
shitty
of their
game?
what if they had one of their expansions last 4 fucking years? How much of their player base would just fucking depart out of pure fucking boredom?
Right, that's
All right,
why.
right. So that's why they need to make a new fucking.
But World of Warcraft and World of Warcraft and Eve are not the same
the
thing.
Idea,
they're not even close.
The idea is
the only
that
same thing is the monthly payments.
You need permanent new content streams coming into MMOs. It is a standard thing in the MMO industry.
But again, you can't compare MMO industry with EVE Online. There is really no room for what you would consider an expansion. Because what would that actually entail? Are you talking about some sort of power creep stuff with Titans or...
No, I'm not talking more Triglavian stuff, because we've already done the Triglavian fucking invasion.
Yeah, but that's what you're asking for. Is
you're using terminologies from games that need to refresh themselves with expansions. This is just not the problem in EVE. The problem is in EVE is a lot more what was mentioned, that there's so much stuff that's broken that needs to be fixed. This is way more important than getting some new expansion or a new race or new space or any stuff like that. This is definitely not what we need.
They've made it clear that they don't fucking want to fix it. They just want to make it worse. So if you're gonna make it worse, at least spew out some new fucking content.
Well, they've got a lot of content. They just dead end them. I mean, the original Eve gate is still floating there in space somewhere in one system. They've never built on that.
The Sanchas have gone nowhere. They just
you just hit it straight in the head. They've started so many things, great ideas, never finish them.
Right.
That's been their problem for the entire time I've played this game.
The Sotios, they didn't do all the races, and now they've only got the 2, and they're so difficult and counterintuitive to Eve, which is a group working together, which is great, but there's only one reward, and only one person's gonna get it. And now that it's so unattainable to do that one person in this game just makes shady deals across the game to be able to run these Sotios.
Dominark, how many times over the last decade did they promise us that they were going to open up Jove space as an expansion?
They've only teased with that. They've never promised that at all.
No,
But they should mentioned it, right?
But they've discussed it. They've discussed it
Yeah.
multiple times, and
My
nobody's
problem
ever
with
followed through on it. Nobody's ever followed through on actually expanding the Eve universe. They've talked about multiple different sizes of capital ships as an expansion before. You know, hey, Titans, the Titans that you guys fly are the small Titans. You know, there's medium and larger Titans out there too. Like, and they've gone completely 180 on caps now. Oh, caps are bad. We need to nerf them into the ground. When
isn't
they
a
could
Mar
have just
like
expanded the game farther into larger ships. That
doesn't
are
the
costing-
Empires have stronger ships than Capsuleers get?
Yes.
So
they could have started unlocking shit like that, but instead they went into this Triglavian shit. They, you know,
and apparently
took-
making battleships into dreadnoughts now because
Right,
instead
I mean-
of going up the other way, they're just now creating a huge divide between battle cruiser and battleship. It sounds like
they could have made the game significantly larger, and instead they're telling us that the big ships are too big, the strongest ships are too strong, and then they're adding in all of this too weak content.
They have a great opportunity to expand the game easily through the Triglavian thing, right? The Triglavians came to our space, took space, it's now theirs, right? Why not have the reverse of that available?
Even though the Triglavian story is pretty interesting, I think that the missed opportunity is all the core lore stuff that's not being used, like the empires that was just mentioned.
I don't disagree with you, Caleb, but don't you think that at this point now, it's almost like impossible for them to go back?
No,
to
I
that?
don't think it's impossible at all. I think they
Well,
have all the tools, they have all the technology, they've done experiments with the whole Triglavian stuff. They have knobs and design concepts that are perfectly ready to do something like expanding faction warfare, actually making it a hot war, having space actually, and actually having the.
I don't disagree with you. What I'm saying is, why I think it's not going to happen is their desire to do that is not there. Our desire for them to do it is there. I would love.
I don't think you're right. I think there's definitely desire between or among many of the developers to do something like this. I think it's. I hate saying this, but I think it's actually from the top that they're not allowed to design in that direction. I feel like there's a strong tendency of bad pump and dump monetization, of gimmicky stuff like Doctor Who and the whole Fortnite marketing ploys. I think they're moving down a direction and following other game developers in their stupid ways of making games. And it's not that it's necessarily wrong, but it's really, really wrong for a game like EVE Online. These games that they keep comparing themselves with and that the players are often comparing EVE with, they have nothing in comparison. They do not even belong in the same segment. It's completely ridiculous to assume that you can market to players that want to play EVE the same way as players that want to play Fortnite. They're not the same people, and the fact that they keep going after the teenager wallets is just, to me, retarded. It's moronic. It's completely dumb. They need to go after the older segment, the ones that already have an interest in games like EVE Online, the ones that actually have lots and lots of disposable income, and figure out how to get access to that wallet instead of this dumb stuff.
Like
what's really
Game
good
Award
for
aside.
all ages? What's really good for all ages is Sector 6 apparel stuff. I got
Oh
this
my
mug.
God.
No, this fucking mug is great.
Here we are shilling. If you're not going to throw your money at CCP, throw it at INN instead.
Yeah, just scroll down. Just scroll down.
Let me tell
Scroll
you,
down. There's links, right? You click on the link. This is the magic of the internet, right? You click on the link, and then you can buy
Okay,
stuff.
can I just say something? I need to say something to chat. The whole thing of calling EVE a niche. This is something that I have heard so many times in the past 20 years. They called Star Trek niche. They called Star Wars niche. They called comic books niche. Can we stop this? The nerds have grown up. They are now the ones with the money. There is nothing fundamentally niche about EVE Online if CCP grows a pair and actually starts developing properly.
I wonder if that's how long their dev cycles are.
Making the
All right, well,
decisions
we have
of
to
the
move
desire,
on.
you don't get it, right?
We have to start moving on because we're starting to run out of time. But I just want to say, Greg, you're a better marketing director than CCP marketing. Go work for CCP.
Oh, thanks,
Okay,
buddy.
I think we're done with the rest of them. Don't really matter that much right now. So I think
Yeah.
we're done with that. Let's go on to the MER because that's the big thing that came out today that no one else has had an opportunity to talk about yet. The MER came out earlier either this week or end of last week. We're talking about the mining values for November and December. CCP retirees on record saying we're seeing higher mining numbers than before. Mining's going up, and
Texas shooter fallacy. What is Texas shooter fallacies?
Dirk, do you want to start this off?
So, like, a little bit of background on this. The reason we're talking about the MER again after it came out last week is because CCP basically broke December in a big way. They hadn't really calculated the residue, the waste mechanic particularly properly. It wasn't being displayed. There was a whole lot of
They didn't have crystals on there.
funkiness. Yeah, they couldn't get mining crystals to work on the MER, even though they've worked perfectly fine for the last fucking God knows how long. But here we are. So today they released an update to December's MER, and one thing that they really changed from this MER to the last one is they gave us mining amounts in volume rather than value mined. Now,
it's because value's broken.
They always had a weird algorithm for value, yeah.
That's because the value for like certain R64s will either show like 2 billion a rock or like 100,000 is per rock. So
This shows that they're actually trying to fix it, though, right?
They are.
Yeah,
They're getting that props. They're trying, good steps. But the story that it's painting is not encouraging per se.
It's not what they've been telling us, really. In terms of some of the stuff. So what we've got up on the screen there is the nullsec moon mining volume. So this goes back to... this is the entire year. They've only given us 1 year's worth of data on this sort of front. But here we are, a graph with 1 year's data that shows basically moon mining going up quite steadily. Obviously we had the end of the last major war in August. Nothing really too crazy there. And then in December 7th, we had the doubling of asteroids and moon stuff. So that's that huge spike there. You're seeing that doubling of amount of ore available on moons. But this is like a generic upward trend. So if we want to go to the next one, whatever the next one is.
Yeah. Just sling one up there, Mifune. We'll figure it out.
So.
Oh, okay.
This one is a bit of a different one, but this is amount mined per day for the past year. You can see some massive swings here. That April spike is people starting to mine shit just before we got the Feldestry patch. I am still going to keep calling it that because stand in front of a bullet and keep getting hit with it. But yeah, that's people getting ready to build a bunch of capitals, put them in the oven, and then not build capitals for like the next 6 months.
6 months. People are still not building capitals.
Yes, but nobody knew how long it was going to last.
Nura, you tried to build a capital. You were about to build something big, right? And
I asked him to build me a jump freighter too, and he couldn't do it.
It's for crazy. Cheap. I was building an Aeon, got almost done until the last 2 major new additional components, and at that point it just broke me. And it's impossible.
But wait,
I had been working on it for 6 months.
Because you couldn't get them, or because they were too expensive?
It was a combination of the war going on, and then the scarcity, and then the combination of all the new materials that are needed that were very difficult to get in the quantities that were required. And it's one of those things that they've moved the needle from being an individual effort to construct to where capitals require a collaboration with core or alliance level participation.
But you're missing the point. So solo capital industrialism isn't a God-given
right.
No, I didn't say it was, but I'm saying they shifted it in such a way that it was so abrupt that it basically turned so many people off from what they were doing before to now they can't do it at all.
I mean,
it's not a question of the change; it's a question of how they delivered it, and the way they delivered it made it so completely antagonistic to the player base that everyone just shot off the deep end in terms of morale and playing this game.
I mean, this is why the Artak AR Keepstar that happened just this week gone was such a big deal for us, right? In terms of the not only just the stuff that we were putting in line members' pockets, but also in terms of the capitals and super caps that we managed to recover from that operation. It's a hell of a bump when you've got this sort of construction dynamic.
Because
to
they
work
can't
with,
get
right?
them back anytime soon. Unless they, get into the Imperium and buy them back or something. But still, like, those ships, they can't get replaced easily. Not even, like...
I think those
after-
supers are mostly already gone.
Yeah.
And speaking of Artak, hey, we should give a huge shout out to everyone that was involved in organizing that.
Mhm.
It was a blast for every member that was there that got something, and for the people that didn't, man, I'm sorry, but like I think everybody
Where
grabbed
were
a
you?
little something.
Most everybody was able to get something out of it. But, yeah, it was fun to watch for the most part, as much as you can. And I think maybe, 2 or 3 ships made it out in the enemy hands, so...
More than
There
that,
were
but
a
yeah.
few, but it wasn't a huge amount compared to the overall haul.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was a good
And
time.
we killed most of the ones that
Yeah.
tried to escape anyways.
Yeah.
So this particular graph, I believe, is...
Frat got more caps than goons. You might want to check your numbers on that, buckaroo.
Oh, this is a super pappy Intel network information. Just accept it.
Did he
It's
pay
the expensive
12 bill?
one,
Did
yeah.
he pay 12 bill for that intel?
Yep, and money well spent.
Money well spent to find out the 7 capitals that fraternity actually got into. 2 of them got out and the rest died.
Yeah,
So-
Bad Ink 22. Could you cite sources, please?
Like, you're gonna have to
I mean,
cite
maybe...
some sources.
Because I know we got, 17
No,
super...
is your source-
We got 17 Nixes alone, and then more.
Yeah, I
caps
mean,
on
I
top
saw
of
the
that.
super sale list, and it was
Like the super sale
a
list
larger than
contains, like,
Frat's
over...
entire cap stealing list.
Yeah.
Is your source by any chance a crack pipe?
Your
I mean,
source
Frat
that
got
you
more
were there.
caps than Coons.
I'm sorry. Hold on. His source is that he was there. Well, so was I, and I was FCing one of the fleets. And
Yeah, but we
I
all
can
know
tell you
your
what,
accuracy is so much here.
Every goddamn frat capital on grid that I saw died, except for 2 of them that got out from a Sino that got lucky on the server tick before we could tackle them.
When you get a
Sunrise,
haircut,
right.
Mifune?
Many Bothans died to bring us this information.
I mean, does somebody have the battle report for that? Because I'm pretty sure we could see several frat caps dying.
So, well, while you guys are bloviating about that, we don't really
Wait,
care about
what?
the gas mining
What are
average,
we
by the
doing?
way.
Obliviating.
Yeah, but
Bloviating.
the reason we've got this graph up, and it's reflected in the low sec gas mining. Just go back for a second. The only reason we had the gas graph in here is just so that you can see the spike that happens just after CCP introduced Feldestry, and then the kind of drop off slowly. Just consistently, CCP are on the down.
They're
gas
getting
mining
back to
on the
their
downtrend.
original numbers of nobody
Yeah.
wanting to do this shit because gas mining sucks dick. So
Yeah, for sure.
they have
Unfortunately,
made
it's
some
one
of
of
the
the
ships a
more
little
critical
better.
things. I mean, if you're going to build capitals, gas huffing is absolutely mandatory. And,
Right, but if nobody's making a capital, you don't need most of those gases.
right, and that's why they've in one way or another they've basically blocked the capitals from the game. Eventually, unless someone starts building them, because as we lose them to attrition, you're not going to have that in the game anymore.
And then this is the ice mining, which you can see it was really fucked because the ice spawns had been fucked up for almost a year. Because they had changed them at one point and they knew they weren't working correctly, but they didn't know really how to fix them. And then they finally fixed them, and that's why you see that woo.
Yeah, that
Huge
massive
spike in
spike is them fixing the respawn rates and like making sure that they actually spawn.
And then people stocking up, and then it's going down to its kind of normal levels. for mining on the ice.
And they still have absolutely no use for liquid for LO.
Yeah.
Didn't we get how much stront? We got 1.4 trillion worth of stront.
Yeah.
In one can, yeah.
One can.
Woo! Okay, this is the big graph. This is the total mining volume, so M3 per region. Who's the number one on that list?
Are we back to the Delve unit?
When you Delve time unit, baby.
Hell yeah.
It's coming back. It's coming back.
Delve time unit.
And what are all the next ones? I believe all the next ones are in high sec.
High sec, like it's
All right,
literally the Forge Metropolis domain, and then Veil with Fraternity being the second null sec region. To
2 of the top 5 and 4 of the top 10 regions by mining volume are nullsec. That's it.
So
But
quite
it just
literally,
fiddles
the
down.
majority, like the marginal majority of mining is going on in high sec. I wonder why. If only the risk versus reward of nullsec was fucking broken.
No, Mifune, that's not the problem.
There's nothing good to mine
There's nothing
at scale.
good to mine. They got rid of everything, and they did everything they could to just trash.
Literally,
nullsec
that's, I promise you, like 90% of that, if not more, is moon ore. Like, in Delve, if it's not at least 90%, I would be shocked. Because, like, I don't see people in the belts. I don't even do belts. I don't do anoms. They are not worth the time and effort, even with using barges now going out there.
Totally agree. All our mining is exclusively on moons.
I can't even remember the last time I mined an anom or a belt.
See, that's actually quite
besides
interesting.
ice.
Because of Delve's total mining volume, about half of it is it's split up into ice, moon, and asteroid on the breakdowns. But the asteroids are at 1.6 billion M3.
I want to know
Moon
who's
is
mining
at
these rocks, by the way.
just under 3 billion M3, and the ice is at 2.34 billion
so
M3.
I wasn't counting into ice. I was just counting like regular ore. But yeah, if you count in ice, it's still a lot, though.
Yeah.
More than almost more, if not more. I'm bad
I
at
want to know
math, and
who's
the two
mining
combined.
any ore. It's worth
Yeah,
it.
bitch, where? Well,
Where
I guess,
is this ore mining?
I guess
don't
they're
believe
mining
you.
out the asteroid belts to get the, or not the belts, the
To get the
anoms.
Mercoxit.
Yeah, that's probably what they're doing. Because you have to mine it all, at least in Delve, you have to mine it all before you can do Mercoxit. So that's literally the only, probably the only reason why it's actually that high.
Well, some people probably are grinding ADMs too.
You don't need to grind ADMs. Like,
yeah, you don't really need to.
Do like
What's
one
the-
moon and you're done.
Well,
What's
look
the
at Delve
point of
now. It's all
ADMs?
4 and 5s.
That's
so,
true.
I want to bet. I want to make a prediction bet right here. 100 million says they toss ADM entirely when they fuck over the iHubs later on down.
Oh,
down
for
the
sure,
series.
100%.
Fucking ADM per system gone. Betcha.
Now the numbers we're seeing right now. This Arendis has done, one of our favorite people has done some math, and the numbers that we've got here for how much is mine is.
Arendis' thing got deleted. Nice.
I'm pretty sure he was just going to drop his
there we go.
forum
Even
post
though
anyway.
It's kind of bright out of the shit
Well-
on my secondary monitor, so bear with me looking like whiter than a ghost.
So to give you the breakdown
the
on
spreadsheet
the
itself.
horrible spreadsheet, basically Arendis did the math based upon the M3 mined and the standard fits that we use on most of our ships, and how much time it would take on a 30-day cycle. If at any given time, this is the average amount of ships that would be in space. So this is if a ship was doing this activity all 24 hours of a day. It would take 802 ventures to mine the amount of material that Delve mined.
Yeah, these are alpha clone ventures with no drones, just like the minimum amount of skills.
Right, and that sounds like a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of ventures, right? But then you go down to T1 fitted retrievers with boost. you get to only 130 characters mining at a time. That's still a decent amount at any given moment, but that's definitely more in the realm of possibilities. But because there's a certain amount of residue that we have, kind of points to what's actually out there. And based upon the numbers, to get the amount of mined over the entire month, it would be an average of 19 hulks out at any moment. Only 19 people on average are pumping out the numbers we're getting. That is so few people engaging in an activity that this is not healthy.
And
So
then,
the key, Orion, if you don't understand, everyone uses.
And who's using hulks? I'm using hulks with ore strip miners. Are you fucking kidding?
Yeah, everyone's using hulks.
Everyone's using one boosting oracle and then hulks.
No, I use a boosting oracle, 3 hulks, and then I have a oracle that sits on top of the hulks to put the ore into and to also defend them.
Are those numbers accurate?
Those numbers
The
are
only reason I ask is I know from like our core alone, we've got 20 people any given day mining.
Yeah.
We spent a solid like 4 or 5 hours with Horrendous myself.
Now, once again,
and
this is if somebody's on
today.
This is if someone was on every minute of every day. So obviously it's going to go up and down throughout the day, but an average of 19 people are getting this much, are causing these numbers to happen.
And then the kicker there is think about how many people we have crammed into Delve. If we can do that with an average of 19 people at any given moment across the month of across the month of December, where are we going to be next month now that numbers have gone up, as you've said, Dawn? You know, the number of people that you've seen at Locust Fleet.
Wait till you see January. That's all.
Well, January is almost coming to an end, so.
Yep, and oh boy, it's going to be different.
11
CCP made a
days.
really bad idea. You can have double the value, and the best way to get it is no waste. It's just going to cost you some money.
But Horrendous the guy in chat has a point. Horrendous, can you do this every month and call it the Delve month unit?
I mean, I'll be honest. I own 10 Rorquals with Rorqual pilots, and I haven't undocked a single one since the changes because I absolutely refuse.
But also, with the way moon prices are now, I think the R16s are kind of falling back into line. But like just one mining on like a good R16 moon, I can pay for like a new Hulk in one session.
I still think the R4s are under.
Like the ship, obviously not the character, but if I mine for like I think two or 3 days straight, I would have a new Hulk character ready to go, like plexed and all that.
Well, that's part of why these numbers are so interesting in the way CCP have changed it, is because we're not seeing what they are calling value mined anymore. We're seeing just raw M3.
Which honestly is more useful because then you can do this down. Now, what I'm curious about is this is Delve. Delve was the highest out of the entire game. Look at how few people are mining anywhere else. Like, all the other regions are fucking in the trash.
Welcome, Horrendous.
Are you here to defend your honor with your math?
No, I'm here entirely to demonstrate that I don't sound like Dunk.
Thanks, Horrendous. I appreciate the answer.
I don't sound a goddamn thing like Dunk. First off, Dunk's a nice guy. I'm an asshole.
You both sound
That's
old,
very
though,
true.
so...
Hey, just because Horrendous is a little bit more seasoned, it doesn't mean he's old.
I like you, Horrendous.
See, I miss the days of Horrendous being a Logi anchor yelling at everybody during Baltec fleets to get their guardians on the fucking
you just gotta listen. That's all you gotta do.
If we had a better fleet meta than what CCP has given us, I would definitely still be doing it. But honestly, Eagle fleets are dull as fuck, and nothing else uses Logi anchors because it's all hacks all the time.
I miss a Horrendous Guardian Logi anchor just in the middle of a Baltec fleet. What the fuck are you doing? Get the hell back on anchor!
Horrendous, are you excited about the battleships becoming closer to dreadnoughts?
I miss Horrendous sending me to my death
You know-
in Nakawa
Yeah.
multiple times.
I'm not sure what really is going to happen with battleships.
You want to know my theory? I think they're going to bring sniping battleships back and think that that's going to fix the meta. Like, that's the dumb brain line idea that CCP probably has in their head.
Did sniping battleships go away? Because we've got 300-kilometer Rokes that would say no.
I mean,
Bring back yacht
they
fleet.
didn't entirely go away.
Uh-oh.
But I think they're gonna give a buff in that aspect and just say, "Oh yeah, you can sit in your battleship and track hacks now. Have fun. Hopefully, this kills the hack meta."
It won't. So, Arendis, was there
I
any
admit that was a good line of mine. Yes.
Arendis, was there anything else in your studies or checking the numbers to get these things that you found interesting or shocking?
No, just I mean, they've been touting how December's numbers look so great, and like, seriously, as I said at the end of that forum post, December's numbers scare the hell out of me. If those numbers don't explode for January, and I don't just mean in Delve, if those numbers don't explode in January, something is seriously fucked. When you go out roaming, most of what you're looking for is somebody to shoot at so that people will come and shoot back. If the busiest goddamned region in nullsec has on average, call it a mix of the retriever numbers and the Hulk numbers, if it's got like an average of 40 people in the busiest goddamn region in null, how fucked is everywhere else? How empty is everywhere else?
Yeah.
That's just not something that can be sustained for Eve.
Omist gives us an interesting answer to that, Horrendous, in one of the funnest fun facts of this MER. Gas mined in Omist in the month of December equated
so low,
to
it's not on the chart.
No, it was the last one on the chart.
Oh, sorry, that's the moon. That's the moon region graph. It's so low, it's not on the moon graph.
Yeah, but on the
Poshman's
gas
not on there
mining,
either. On the asteroid one, Poshman was like 200K.
Omist managed to mine 4.5 prospects worth of gas.
So what does Pearl Abyss say when they see these numbers?
They don't look
We'll
at
know
these.
when the Q4 call goes out.
Economic report goes out, and Helmars doesn't get his bonus check for the second time in a row.
This is
This is beyond bonus check.
This isn't you don't get your bonus check territory. Like I don't know what their actual numbers look like. This is obviously a reflection of activity, and it's a reflection of activity in one type of activity in one. Well, not really in one, but it's a reflection of one type of activity, and what we're looking at is a reflection of one type of activity in one type of space. But I mean, good God,
trickle down, right? Because if there are so few miners out, there's fewer content for
fewer hunters
PvPers.
looking for them.
Exactly.
Less people building because there's less ships
people
dying.
building. If there are no hunters out, then we've got fewer fleets going out to defend them, to defend people. It's less fighting overall. It's less people engaged with other people.
It's almost like this is an ecosystem where one thing affects 8 things.
Eve is a game, and I'm gonna go ahead and say this. All right, Eve is a game where the mechanics of the game are shit. Like,
that's not a shocker.
It's not a shocker. Like this is a space combat game where, among other things, line of sight doesn't exist. So, like 2/3 of the idea of positioning in space combat goes right the fuck out the window. Firing arcs don't exist. Most of the staples of space combat don't exist. Space physics doesn't exist. What keeps people playing this game is other people. Whether it's the people you're with or the people you're against. What keeps people playing this game, and I'm not saying to the dude who's been here 6 months, oh my God, you're only here for the people. Because the guy who's here for 6 months Maybe he hasn't met people yet. Maybe he's still enjoying exploring stuff. That's all great. But what keeps people here for 15 years is other people. What keeps CCP's customers paying them year after year after year is the interactions with people. And this is thinning out the number of people that are being interacted with. So
But it's
if these
okay.
Wholeheartedly agree.
But
if
it's
these numbers
okay to
don't
introduce
seriously
more.
explode, we've got problems.
Surely
just
they
gonna
can
say.
see this, though, right? Surely they do realize, like CCP
Stop
realizes
calling me
this
Shirley.
is.
They're
No.
insisting the numbers looked great.
No. CCP Retati, CCP Swift on the Declarations of War podcast. They're saying the numbers look great. They're saying it on the forums. They're saying it basically everywhere that they can fucking say it because they want people to believe what they're
No.
saying.
I do
They're
have a
using
question though.
logins as the quantifier instead of actual devs who play the game.
What they used apparently was the total number of resources mined. Now, I don't know if that number that they're using includes the residue, because that would all be some of the resources extracted from the rocks.
Now I have a question. Well, what I'm thinking is, if you look, October's numbers were actually
Right, but they're saying since the end of scarcity.
Do you
which means
think that they're just
they're
No,
looking at December
That's a strange metric to utilize, though, for
less than
quantifying
2
number of
months.
people.
Look, it went up by a margin of error from one month to the next. Yay!
Right, and especially since player trends in EVE aren't the same month to month.
I mean, if
It's
they
like
want to
comparing-
quantify interactions,
it's like
then they
comparing
should
what
use
happens-
PvP numbers.
It's like what happens on. It's like comparing what happens on a Wednesday in EVE to what happens on a Saturday in EVE. People have schedules that interfere with when they can play. They're more active on the weekends. You can't compare one day to the next day. You have to compare week to week. By the same metric, you can't really compare 1 month to the next month. You have to compare the same month year to year. Because usage patterns vary.
Well, to your point, then you were saying that EVE is a social game, and it's about bringing people together to.
It very much is.
Right.
It very much
So
is.
that's why I'm kind of dumbfounded that they would use mining as a metric to look at participation, because that is a very solo oriented component of the game as opposed to PvP, where it's about you actually have to face someone to shoot them and blow them up or be blown up by.
When it comes to the health of the game, they never meant, oh my god, we have a dropping PCU, we don't have enough new players, whatever. No, that was just a direct result of them thinking the game was unhealthy. What they deemed unhealthy was somebody like Arendis could build a Titan all by himself within a year. They saw that as an unhealthy, unethical thing within a sandbox game and deemed it to be impossible otherwise.
That's not what they saw as unhealthy
Just
about
for the
Arendis.
record, Arendis could never build a Titan himself in a year because I am not that masochistic. I leave that sort of thing to Jay.
Horrendous. It only took. I did one but by myself with 2 characters, and it took me like 3 months.
Sure, but you also had to move all that ore around yourself. I am not that masochistic. I have helped one person. I have helped one person build their own super, and I helped them move crap around and basically said, you know what? There's no way I'm putting myself through this crap.
Okay, well, you did it with the wrong person.
I'm just going to throw money at the problem.
Horrendous. All I had to do was Jay gave me access to personal Sotio, so all I had to do was dock it in the T2 Tatar that he also personally owned, and just crunch it and then warp across.
Yeah, well,
so I had a little bit easier time.
The point stands.
No,
the
it's
point
not.
stands of I took the easy way
Stop
and I
making
just
friends.
threw money at the problem and bought myself a super.
Anyway,
that was it. Everything was fine.
Anyway,
But
we are
I
starting.
am going to say this about what the actual problem with the mining shit was. All right, and Dirk, I have to warn you. I'm going to say it.
Oh, this is going to be fun.
I'm going to say it.
I love it when Arendis does this to me.
So the problem with the mining shit was never the Rourke wall. We can actually establish, and Reaver has done this,
Yeah.
we can actually establish that the Rourke wall, cost benefit wise, was in exactly the place it still is, and there is no real issue there. Just based on how much was being mined by Rourkes and how much was not being mined by Rourkes, and how much the Rourke costs versus how much the yield was. That was never the issue.
Is this the thing
The
that
issue-
we can't say because Caleb is here?
I'm gonna say it.
We talked about this years ago.
No,
that
no,
it
shut up,
doesn't,
Caleb.
It doesn't,
Shut
doesn't
up,
matter
Caleb.
if you.
Caleb, shut up and let me get this out because I'm going to say something that nobody wants me to say. And like we had discussed this earlier today, and it comes down to the change in infrastructure and the move in production to citadels from POSs, because a POS can only build maybe 2 supers at a time or so. And basically what it comes down to is that Caleb was right and infinite job slots are a problem.
And so we're injectors
Oh, God,
at the
please
same
don't
time.
And we always
no,
said
no,
that.
I'm gonna cut you off.
I know.
Can,
No,
can I
no,
just-
no, because
can
we
I just say
no,
something? We
we
were
actually
talking
have to
about this
go.
way
That's the
back.
thing.
Way back, we said it's not the size of the cup; it's the actual fountain that's the problem.
So
we
gotta close the show. So we're gonna do final thoughts because he has to go soon. So I don't want to be. We can save if you want to see the continuation of this discussion. It will be on Saturday. I guarantee it. At some point, because I know you too. But second I heard infinite slots, I already knew. I was like, no, we cannot let Caleb go because it'll never end.
We're not.
Caleb was right.
We can continue that on Push to Talk on Saturday.
I'm gonna spend an hour discussing the Eternals with Arendis Saturday.
Okay.
The Eternals.
Where
was
do we
god-awful.
see?
But anyway,
where do we see Push to Talk? Like, if we got to,
Right
if
here
we
on
want to
INN.
watch that,
right here on
Here on INN.
Brisk is here. Brisk is
I-
here. We have to roll.
I
We
don't-
have to start.
I don't know. I don't know what time it is Eve time because God knows
1800
how that
Eve.
works. But Center of the Universe time, it's at 1 p.m.
Yep.
1800 Eve.
Eastern Freedom Time is the best time zone. But anyway, Ghost, your final thought for this evening.
Yep, I just 2 things. I wanted to tell Arendis I wholeheartedly agree with his final statement there. Endless build slots are definitely the problem. Rourkes never were. They cost way too much to not be able to justify the amount they mined. And my second final thought is stay tuned in the coming weeks for the grand debut of the Greg and Ghoster show coming to a channel near you.
yes.
Arendis, your final thought for this evening?
My final thoughts are twofold. First, the last thing I said was in fact that Eastern time is Center of the Universe time, and so I'm glad you agreed with the last thing I said. And second,
Damn it, Arendis.
having said that once, you will never hear me say Caleb is right again.
That's not true. I'm sure I will again.
I'm sure I
Not if
will
I can
again.
avoid it.
I know. Caleb?
I'm just going to point out that I know for a fact that Arendis had actually said that I was also right about negative feedback on ADMs to systems. So he said it twice. I'm just going to wait for the third time, and then I'm just going to quit Eve forever.
Didn't you
All right,
already?
Dirk?
I'm just gonna berate Arendis real quick for actually acknowledging that was a thing that was said when we said we weren't going to do this to Caleb, because now he's gonna spend the next fucking 4 days in a big-headed wave of pleasure. But
Well, that's fine. That's
we
fine.
were
We don't
all
have to
pretty
deal with him.
correct.
We don't have
with-
to deal with him. The fun part is Reaver's going to wake up to this.
That's very true.
All right.
But yeah, no, he was correct. And,
Much
we've
of an
all
easy one.
acknowledged
Thanks for
this.
having me on tonight. It was fun to be in a group full of smart people.
Yeah.
Thank you for
I'm not used
joining
to that.
us.
Thanks, guys.
Hey.
That's not true, I guess.
Namori?
For me, AMOG is recruiting. CCP, you suck for breaking this game, and I absolutely love meeting everyone in DC. It was, I love being part of this alliance.
Well, I loved meeting you too. You were a lot of fun. And then
Ragnar?
Ragnar?
Yeah, I had fun at the DC meet. I got really high on this show. Mad Cows needs Isk. That's all.
Hey, don't forget to tell him you'll be the first guest on the Greg and Ghoster show.
I don't
was not aware.
particularly. Yeah, I don't particularly have a last word, but my friend does.
Oh my god, no.
Hello,
No.
I'm Dr.
No.
Bum Sniffer.
Oh my
No.
god.
Please stay tuned for the Gregor Ghoster Show coming soon to a channel near you.
Oh my god, is this like the
Oh,
Rottweiler
God.
thing?
Oh my god.
I
Okay,
guess,
anyways.
all right.
Mifune, any final thoughts?
Yes, ASCII is recruiting, and enjoy Rampage tonight.
And then my final thought is I loved meeting everybody in DC. Appreciate all of our guests for coming on and talking about everything. There were actually a lot more things we could have just gone on for hours on. So I appreciate everybody dealing with our timetable. And
we couldn't do this show without you, the viewer. Remember that.
It's correct. So hit like and subscribe and ring that bell or whatever you got to say.
What?
And then
and don't forget our sponsor, Raid Shadow Legend.
Oh, they don't get nothing till they pay us.
Oh, we have sponsors. Mifune.
And then I will see people on Saturday, hopefully, for Push to Talk, where I will hopefully get to run over these three. But more than likely, they'll talk over me. Anyways,
there's
have
another
a good night, guys.
there's another INN show on Saturday, isn't there?
Yes, there is. There is the Meta Show.
It's a little
All
show.
right, so don't forget to check those. And everybody say hello to Merkelchin, Nominate, and
Everyone
Brisk.
say bye to Rampage. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Later.